So today we're going to be going over 20 minutes of the best money making methods in Hypixel Skyblock. Let's get into the video. But before we do get into the video, if you do watch my videos and you haven't subscribed and you do enjoy them, make sure you just leave a subscribe. It helps me out a lot. We're on the road to 2k. Let's just get there. Now, some of these methods that are going to be included in the video you would have seen before, and others you won't have seen before. Now, about a month ago, or almost 2 months ago now, I made a video which was 10 minutes for the best money making methods. So we're going to better ourselves today, and we're going to go for 20 minutes. So let's just get into the video. I hope you enjoy it. So the first method in this video, if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time now really, you probably will be familiar with this method, and it is flipping Shadow Assassin pieces on the A8. So if we type in Shadow Assassin and bring up the Shadow Assassin armor and filter to Epic for now, as you can see at the moment, the Shadow Assassin boots are probably going for around 130 to 150k. So at the moment, obviously the prices are massively subject to change, and things like the Paul being the actual mer can impact these prices dramatically. So don't take these prices for anything, just take these with a pinch of salt. Check these prices yourself before you do this method. And basically all we're going to be doing is we're just going to be refreshing and looking for any snipes. Now this obviously works with all pieces of armor. It's a simple snipe, it's a simple flip, so it works with all of them. Now I tend to find that epic pieces do work well, but most of my snipes usually come from legendary pieces, just purely because people don't realise the actual difference in price between epic and legendary, and some people don't realise there is a difference whatsoever. And as with all AH flipping methods, there'll be peak times and there'll be sort of slumps, and that'll be basically when most people are on and most people are active and playing dungeons. There'll be more Shadow Assassins on the market, therefore there'll be more snipes. So like I said, all we're going to be doing is we're basically just going to be going through the pages, and we're just going to be looking for anything that looks out of the ordinary or looks like that we can make a few coins off it. Obviously you have to take into consideration tax and everything like that. But I'm going to go get some snipes, and when I do get the snipes, I'll be back with you. So the first snipe of this video is, as you can see, we've just picked up some Shadow Assassin leggings for just under 3.6 mil. If we go onto the auction house and go along to leggings, we'll find out that the actual price of Shadow Assassin leggings at the moment is 3.9 mil. So that's quite an easy 300k profit right there. We'll get them listed up, and hopefully they'll sell relatively quickly. Shadow Assassin is usually in quite high demand, so you don't really have many problems with selling the items. Now you might be thinking, why don't you flip the mythic Shadow Assassin? And what I would say is you can always have a look. There's no harm in having a look, but the prices seem to be, not the prices, it's more of the fact that they take longer to sell, and that frustrates me, to be honest. Unless you've got the time and patience to list them overnight or something and come back to them, which most people do, then that's fine. But like I said, the prices seem to vary quite a lot, and they're a little bit unpredictable. So to be on the safe side, I'd probably stay away from these pieces, but I would have a check, because sometimes there are some bargains. People do listen for way cheaper than they should be. And the next flip are the Shadow Assassin boots that I picked up for 1 mil exactly, and at the moment they're going for, call it 1.1. We'll list it for like 1,090,000, and we'll make like 70 or 80k after tax off that, so that's really not too bad either. But other than that, for Shadow Assassin flipping, that is pretty much as simple as it gets. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them to sell. They probably won't take too long, but at the same time I don't want to drag the making of this video on for too long, so trust me on this, they will sell. But yeah, anyway, let's go on to the next method. So the next method is going to be back at the auction house, and if we come over to the agent and we type in Diamante handle, I did make a video on this a couple of days ago, but I think it's fitting because it is a really good method. And basically all we're going to be doing again is we're just going to be auction flipping these. We're going to be sniping these Diamante handles. I've got them for as low as like 1,000,000 coins. Obviously that's just down to luck and being in the right place at the right time, as is with a lot of money making methods. But nevertheless, as you can see, they go for around 1.3 to 1.35 million usually. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a few flips, and I'll come back when I've got some. Okay, so literally straight away I got one for 998k, so less than 1,000,000 coins, and as you saw, they're going for 1.3 mil. So we're going to get this listed for 1.3 mil. And honestly, literally, as soon as I stopped recording that clip, I got that snipe. It was literally instantly. So we'll just do 1.3 mil. Get it listed up, and it should sell fairly quickly. These Diamante handles are in high demand, so yeah, this is why this method is so good. And we've just picked another one up here for 1.1 mil, and as you know, they're still going for like 1.3, 1.34 mil. So that'll be a nice 200k profit there as well. So It's really not been long, it's probably been a couple of minutes. Both have sold, and they do sell very quickly. All my Shadow Assassin has sold as well, but I did collect it, unfortunately not thinking. Now this next method works all the time, but at the moment while recording this video, Diaz is the Mer, so this works way better because the NPC limits are increased by 10. So yeah, let me show you this method. Most of you probably already know it, but in case you don't, now you're going to know. Now if you don't know, at the moment Diaz is the Mer, like I said, and basically increases your NPC buy limits by 10. So if we go over to blocks of quartz, because these make good profit, and we just buy as many as we can, we fill our inventory up. Usually you'd only be able to buy, I think it's 8 stacks of these or 10 stacks of these, but now it's increased by 10. So basically you buy as much as we can, especially with quartz, then you convert it into enchanted quartz, and then we sell it onto the bazaar. So I'll do it with this and a few others just to give you an example. So we've spent around 500k on these quartz, and if we go to the bazaar, they sell for 967k. And literally all we've done is bought them and sold them. That is literally it. Now, you can maximise your profits, it just may take a little longer to get your profits. So as you can see here, I have the quartz. If you turn these into enchanted quartz blocks and put actual sell orders in here, you can make around nearly 1.1 million coins, but I'm just going to go ahead, take the 400k profit and sell them instantly, and you can see that it's so much profit. You can do them with other things as well. So if we head over to the mining merchant over here, it also works with iron, gold, cold, cobblestone. Now while Diaz is the Mer and you can buy more from the NPC, this personal compactor is going to be your best friend. So all I'll do is I'll go over here and buy as much gold as I possibly can. Obviously we'll never usually be able to buy this much, but obviously at the moment we can. And we'll go ahead and craft as much as we can into enchanted gold. Now, instead of having to do this manually all the time, if you go over to your personal compactor and place one in, if we now go to the mine merchant and just buy loads of gold, then we can literally just do it until it fills up. So this is a much quicker way of doing it. So after getting all of the enchanted gold, cobblestone and iron, we've then sold it to the bazaar, and the recording did sort of corrupt a little bit, so yeah, I couldn't use it, but I'm telling you what I've done. We've made around 50k profit, somewhere around that margin, so that's really not too bad. Not as profitable, nowhere near as profitable as the quartz, but still profitable. Now I will leave a more in-depth video on this in the description, and I will also leave a link to a website called Bazaar Tracker. Now Bazaar Tracker will basically tell you which items are profitable and which items aren't profitable. At the bottom of the home screen there's a bit that says top resell NPC, and that's the bit that you're looking at. So the next money making method is going to be over at the bazaar, and it's going to be a very nice method that is always profitable. Now if we go over to the bazaar agent and we go over to fuels and you look at enchanted lava bucket, as you can see at the moment the margin is almost 23k. Well, it is 23k, but you probably get around 20k once you've encountered tax. So if we click on it and we're going to create a buy order, as you can see 350k at the moment and selling it for 373. So just to speed things up, I have gone ahead and already put an offer in. As you can see, it filled 41 seconds ago. I set it up around a minute ago. So we've got our enchanted lava bucket for 350k, and we're just going to go ahead, go and create sell order, and we're just going to sell it on. So as you can see, though, we're going to make 18k profit, which is really not bad. Now another way you can do this method, sometimes there isn't as much of a margin in that, and sometimes there's more of a margin in a different way, and that will be crafting the enchanted lava bucket itself. Now what you do have to consider with this way of doing it is it does require coal collection 8, which is 25k coal collection, and as you can see my coal collection isn't great, so I actually currently can't do this method. But having said that, at the moment it's actually cheaper to buy it from the bazaar and sell it back to the bazaar with the orders. So you've just got to play around with it and see what works best at the time, but crafting the enchanted lava bucket and selling that enchanted lava bucket usually has way more of a margin, but enchanted coal blocks have gone up in price and it does cost that to craft it. And if you were curious about the crafting recipe, here it actually is. So in that time when I was explaining everything, the enchanted lava bucket sold, and that has made us some nice profit. Now while we're on the topic of bazaar flipping, in the past couple of weeks ever after the reset, or not the reset, where after when Hypixel went down and came back up, I've noticed a few flips that are, you know, in one specific area. I have made a video about it previously, about a week ago, but if we go to mining, and if we look here, if we go on coal, enchanted coal blocks, as you can see the margin in that is 12k. The margin in that is never usually that much. We go to gold, the margin in that is 13k. The margin is never that high. We go to iron, 10k, and if we go to emeralds, around 15k. So as you can see, these are really nice margins. So we're going to go ahead and list this emerald block up. So We did get it for a price of around 164k. I'm going to create a sell order for 179k, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Best offer -1, and we're just going to wait for it to sell. Now, every time I do cover a bazaar flipping method, what I always say is that don't do what I'm doing and don't just create one order for one item. You've got to do it in bulk to make a lot of coins, really. The sole reason of me just doing one sole item is just for the purpose of the video, and so it isn't massively long to actually record. So the best way to really do it is set some buy orders up maybe before you go off, and when you come on the next day, then you collect the orders and put the sell orders up, and then the next day you collect the coins. This way you're not really waiting around for anything, you can be doing things in the meantime, because this is really a passive method. Anyway, that is pretty much all there is to these methods, the enchanted lava book flip and then the enchanted block flip. It works with pretty much anything that you can see has a decent margin, so it is quite simple. So the next money making method is a very early game method. So if we come over to the librarian and we look at sharpness and also we look at protection. So as you can see, these cost either 30 or 20 coins each. So what we would do there is we buy 16 of each book. Now 16 of each book cost between 300 to 500 coins depending on which one you go for. That's to make a sharpness or a protection 5 book. So if we go over here to the auction house and type in prop and we filter to the cheapest protection 5 book, it's going for 9k. So for early game players, this is a very nice way to start your Hypixel Skyblock experience off. Turning 500 coins into 9k, probably let's say for 8.5, it'd sell pretty much straight away. It's a really nice method, and even better for sharpness, 19k. Turning 500 coins into 18k is, you know, it's a massive W for an early game player. So we've gone ahead and bought our 16 sharpness books, which cost us around 500 coins, and basically all we're going to do is combine them in the anvil like so until we get sharpness 5, and just like that we have our sharpness 5 book. So like I said, it costs us around 500 coins and 2 minutes of our time, and we can sell it on for, we'll say 18, 17 or 18k, and obviously sharpness is always demanded, that's the bottom line, so it will sell, and it will sell fairly quickly. There we go, it's listed up, and yeah, that's all there is to it. So the next method is something that you can probably do once again in more early game, but this is a really nice way to make money. So if you go onto the auction house and type in rejuvenate or just reg and filter to just consumables, these rejuvenate books usually sell quite comfortably for about 30k, but people list them for stupidly low prices like this one here. People are actively sniping these, so there is quite a bit of competition. But if you are quick to the mark, you will pick quite a few bargains up. I've seen people list them for 1k because they just really can't be bothered selling them. I don't really get the point in that, but people do. So basically what I'm saying is that we just simply pick them up for when people list them stupidly low and they sell them for 30k or even more. Sometimes they go for like 40, 45k, which is quite nice. So this book here we picked up for 18k I believe, and we're just going to list it for 13k. Now although this is only a 12k snipe, the rate that these actually show up is stupidly high. As you can imagine, there are a lot of people getting rejuvenate books from dungeons. It's probably one of the most common drops behind like ultimate quiver or whatever it's called, infinite quiver. So there's always a massive supply of them, and that's why there's so many snipes pretty much all the time. Like this one here, we didn't get it. Oh no, we did get it. 15k. It's another 15k profit. Rejuvenate isn't the only book flip you can do. You can also flip with like Legion and things like that. The prices of these do vary a lot, so what I tend to do is buy them out quite a lot, like this 1 million coins or just under 1.1. And then I usually find that they will sell after a while, maybe overnight at 1.19 million coins. So usually what I do is I buy like pretty much as many as I can, so like 10 or something like that, or however many I can, and then basically just relist them, leave it overnight, and they usually are all fulfilled when I get back in the morning or whenever I come on the next day. Alternatively, if you're looking for a quicker flip that will still make you a little bit more money, try something like Last Stand, Ultimate Wise or Wisdom. These books once again are quite common in dungeon drops, and they're listed on the auction house a lot, so people undercut and undercut and undercut. Obviously I would not take these prices what I'm sort of seeing at the moment as really anything, because they do change all the time according with demand and supply pretty much. But what I would do is just before you actually do this method is just look at the market for a couple of minutes and determine what your sort of average sell price is at the moment in time, and then you can sort of work out how much less you want to snipe for in accordance with tax and all the other costs that you will actually incur. So that's probably the best way to do it. And if we look at our listings, our Rejuvenate books have sold and our Sharpness book from before has also sold, so we'll collect all of them. So the last method of the video is going to be something that you may not be able to do at this point in time when you watch the video, or you also may be able to. It just depends on when you're actually watching the video. So if you come over to calendar and events, as you can see, the next Spooky Festival is in just over a day. So a day and 7 hours. That's important to know. Now if we come over to the auction house and we type in, for example, Spooky Cup for Spooky Cupcake, and we look at the lowest price, at the moment they're around 85k. So this is also important to take note. Now, by I'd probably say in around 12 to 13 hours, these prices will probably have gone up to around 100k rather than 85k. And basically, the method is when it's just been the Spooky Festival. So in a day and 7 hours, when the Spooky Festival actually does start, probably just after it. So in a day and 8 hours, say after it's just finished, I would basically bulk buy these Spooky Cupcakes, and they'll come onto the market really quickly, because loads of people will be getting them in the Spooky Festival. Now, the first Hypixel video I actually made on this channel was this exact method, and I'll link it in the description because it's still quite relevant. Even though the prices have changed slightly since then, it is still relevant. But that video will give you a bit more of an idea to how it actually sort of works, and that it actually does work. This method can be done with way more items as well. Pretty much anything that's you can only access during the Spooky Festival, or for that matter other festivals as well. Like I was saying, what I would do is pretty much bulk buy them and wait for probably until there's around 12 hours left before the next Spooky Festival, and then I'd sell them on. It's pretty much as simple as that. It's more of an investment rather than a quick money making method, but it is a nice way of making money. It's passive, you don't have to think about it. All you've got to do is basically remember that the next Spooky Festival is coming up and you'll be fine. While we're on the topic of event-specific money-making methods, if we head over to the Bazaar and we go to fishing, and we go to fishing festival items, and we go to, where is it now? It's Great White Shark Tooth. And at the moment, as you can see, there's like almost a 200k flip in this Shark Tooth. Sorry, 200k, I meant 300k, I can't read. This seems like a great flip, which it would be if the order's actually filled. The orders simply don't fill because there's not really any supply of these, because it's not the fishing festival. When the fishing festival is actually on, granted these margins do get lower, but the supply in which they come actually onto the Bazaar is way higher, so you can make so much money off this. I have covered this in a video quite a while ago, to be fair, probably nearly 2 months ago now. But this is probably the best Bazaar flip when it's the fishing festival, full stop. Hence why I'm not showing you basically my orders filling up with this method, because I wouldn't recommend to do it now. But when the fishing festival is on, then go ahead and do it. You just have to trust me and take my word for that. And just so we cover pretty much all festivals, if we also come to the Bazaar again and we look at oddities, gifts are another thing. When it's the Jerry Festival, obviously gifts are going to go down in price because there's going to be way more supply of them, people getting them from the Jerry Island. And obviously at the moment they've sort of stabilised and gone up in price a little bit. Now, you might be thinking, why can't we just flip these? There's like a 4k profit in that, 3.5, around that, which is it's a decent flip. Number one, red gifts tend to be the lowest in supply, hence the reason why they're the highest in price. And number two, these just basically will fill very slowly at the moment. So my sort of advice would be very similar to the way that you would flip Spooky Cupcakes. And by saying that, you basically buy a lot of gifts when they're cheap, when the Jerry Festival is on, and probably when there's like 12 hours to a day before the next Jerry Festival. You just sell them on at the Bazaar, put your order in, and you just make profit, and that's as simple as it is. But anyway, this is going to be about the end of the video. I appreciate this is a long video, and I appreciate that people won't want to watch a 20-minute long video, which is perfectly fine. But for those people who do want a lot of money making methods in a relatively short period of time, then here's the video. So what I will say is, if you do enjoy my content, then I have a Discord server in the description down below, and if you've not already joined it, then feel free to join it. It's pretty much the channel, but in Discord form. Quite self-explanatory. But anyway, like I said, this is going to be the end of the video. If you did enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time.